Franciscan mambo zipya shelfu. So angeponya yashika so zima yasoni zili kyana zima yen. So for those of us who are joining online, you are welcome to the third session of the Tyap Wiki Bootcamp season 2. It's our second year since we started the bootcamp program. But this year's program is created mainly to support those who want to learn the Tyap language, who want to be literate in the language. And that's the reason why we are having it in 6 sessions this very year. And we have done 2 sessions thus far. And we are having today being the third session, and um, we have about 4 more sessions to go after this very one. So without today we are going to have a very lengthy class, but hoping we'll just stick a little to the 1 hour time period. So I believe you can all hear me very clearly.
Very clear.
Okay. So I'll do share my screen currently. I'll do share the screen now. And then I wanted to actually connect the session to Meta. Let me try not to
Okay.
YouTube.
Okay.
Mm, yeah.
YouTube
So
Meta.
no Meta.
All right.
Mm. So let me just share my my screen, and then we go through the slides. So this is the slide for today. The network situation here in Nigeria these days is quite very pathetic. We just have to be very patient with it, otherwise we get frustrated and tired. So this is a guide to learn to read and write here, a short transition literacy course for beginners. And this is the third session thus far. This is the lesson 3. So um, what is phonology? Phonology is actually what we are going to go through to look at today. And we have our 5 friends as usual, thinking about the whole thing. You will never have the answer. So Mbakuza and Jenja and in theater, or what was Bianca. So phonology is the study of sound patterns in a language. That is, every language has its own pattern, and the pattern of one particular language and that of another language is usually different. So the way the basic sounds or the phonemes are arranged, the phonemes are the individual sounds. For example, in the last in the first lesson, we said that the letter B produces the ba sound. So if you write it like this, this is actually the grapheme, and then the sound ba is the phoneme. So A is sounded as A, meanwhile T is sounded as ta. So that's the grapheme, the phoneme I mean. And in Tiap, I want us to observe these 9 words. Between number 1 and number 9, can you identify a particular pattern in Tiap? For those of us who are here, can you identify a particular pattern in Tiap that doesn't occur in the Tiap language? Just look at it very well. Is there any pattern? Do we usually have T before B, or A, B, T? Do we have this kind of arrangement, B, A, T? So the mic is on, you can unmute and respond if you can identify any pattern at all that doesn't occur in Tiap. So Gokok, we, do we have any?
Okay,
Mm,
I want to comment on that TBA. I don't know that pattern now.
okay, TBA. That's the number what?
That's number two.
Okay, number two. So any other one?
And
Do we identify
BTA.
any other one? Okay, BTA. Okay, and any other one? So if
Even
you can't identify
number
any,
four,
okay, number four. So that's ATB. So we don't have these sounds at the back like in Arabic. This one doesn't occur in Tyap. So the patterns that we actually notice in Tyap include this number one, BAT. We find that a lot. Bat can mean to plate, bat can mean to knit something or to weave. And so we have this pattern in Tyap number one. We have this pattern in Tyap also. That's TAB. We can have tabat. We can have tabwak. And then we have this TA pattern, takuk. We can have tang, TANG. This pattern, of course, we have this pattern in Tiap, like a tang, a tien, a two, and then we also have this pattern bam, bang, bam. There are many that we have, but if you look at number two, we don't have this TBA pattern. This is mainly found in Afro-Asiatic languages like Hausa, Arabic, and so on. And then we don't also have this pattern ABT occurring in Tiag. And then we look at number four also, we don't have this pattern in Tiag at the back. And then we don't also have this kind of pattern BTA in Tiag. So these are the four patterns we don't have in Tiag, and then these are the four patterns we have, the five patterns. Okay, we don't have this one, two, three, four, and then we have this one, two, three, four, five in here. So I hope we understand the patterns now in the phonology, as long as phonology is concerned. So can you identify some patterns never found in TIAP? Um, then maybe we have already answered that very question ahead of time. So T and B, and then B and T do not occur, they never occur in TIAP. And then also, if you have noticed, we don't usually have C, F, G, L, S, V, and Z occurring at the end of Tiap words or even next to a consonant in any Tiap word. Have you noticed that? So we can unmute. Perhaps maybe the Tiap Language Development Board last year created new words, and those new words have F, J, L at the end. I don't know about that, but have we ever seen such words in TIAP? Can we unmute and let's know if we have those patterns in TIAP? Um, have we noticed that our mics are off?
yes, I've noticed it, but I think there's no any word that ends with C, F, J, L, S, and VY. Even
So
Z.
what about the word kataf? Is kataf not a TIAP word?
Kat, kat, Qatar is not a Tiago word.
Okay. So which one is the TIAP word? TIAP or kataf?
That one is Hausa word.
Okay, so that is the Hausa word kataf, ending with an F. So in the Hausa language, you may find such patterns with words ending with F, and even Arabic or even Hebrew, but As long as Tyap is concerned, we don't have that, except maybe some certain dialects of Tyap like Tuku. I think Tuku has borrowed from some other languages, and Tuku is having some of those patterns with ending with F specifically. But any other dialect of Tyap and the Tyap Magorodo dialect specifically does not have these word endings. So, can we try calling these words, these names that we can see? I can see Bullet, I can see Payot, and then I can see Imaniet, and then I can see Eseta. Or am I not pronouncing it well, Tiapu?
That's the correct pronunciation in Tyap.
Okay, so in Tiap, even though this one is written Bulus, Tiap doesn't have S ending, so the S is usually changed to T, so it becomes Bulut. And then Pious, this is another S ending, it changes to another T, that is Payot, although it is sounded D, so to say. And then Imaniet, of course, is ending with L, but we change it to T or D. That sounds Imaniet. And then Exeter, we don't have S coming before T, so it's either the S is deleted or a vowel sound is brought in between the S and the T. So you have either eta or Exeter. So, can you render them as possible, as natural as possible? Of course, that's what we just did, and then we rendered it as Bullet and Payot, and then Imaniet and Exeter. And then, how do we write these names in Tiap? Of course, in Tiap, we will write them as Bulut, and then Payot, we write it as Payot, and then Imaniet, we write it as Aniet, and then Exeter we write it as ESI with underscore TA, or we write it as ETA. So that is Tiap. And then in Tiap, the M sound never comes immediately before D, F, G, H, K, N, T, and V, whereas N does. For example, we have the N sound coming before D, but not M. We can't have it as Indian. Instead, we have Indian, or Indian rather, Indian. So Indian means ridges, and then Umfak is not Umfak with an M, but it is with an N, Umfak. And then we have Ngwan. Ngwan is N and then G, Ngwan, not Ngwan, M and GG. So we have Inhet is NH, not MH, and then Ngwan is not MK Ngwan, but NK, and then same thing with Na, and then Ndam, and then Umvak. So if you notice, all these sounds, um, these are non-plosive sounds, so to say. Uh, but then, if you look at, on the other hand, we have letter N never coming before this very specific sound. These are typical plosive sounds in the Tiap language. So we have ba, and then ba, and then ma and pa, except for very specific cases like bang bang, and then bang and so on and so forth. Whereas M comes before this B sound, and we have examples like mbap. It's mbap. MB, not NB. It's not mbap, but mbap. And then it is mba, not mba. It's not NBA. It's MBA. And then we have word, word, which is a pause. Mba them. Mba can also mean a beloved son, and then Mbab are the branches or the plant, I mean the leaves of a cocoyam plant. And then we have what a pause, and then some people write it with the N, but it is wrong, as it is unnatural for us to have it as N. It won't sound natural. So we have it as M, AM, GBAM. Bum, bum, or bum. And then we have bum pan. Bum is bum and then pan and then a a kambut with an M, not with an N. We have pan with an M, not an N, and then man. Some people write with an N, but it is M-M-A-N, not N-M-A-N. Man. A kambut pan, bum, what? Mba, mbap. Man means children, kambut means pawpaw or papaya, and then pampa means nearby, and then umba means all, and then we have the next page. Interestingly, the English language also exhibits such phonological characteristics because this is a natural, it's kind of a natural human language. It's natural for you to have letter N before letter D, not letter M before letter D, like tendency. Can imagine? Can you ever imagine that English language is having a word like tendency? Is kind of unnatural. And then we have long, not long. We have bent, not bent. Infest, not infest. Rank, not rank. And then in the case, all these ones are in the case of letter N or the sound, the phoneme. And then we have important, not important. We have umbrella, not umbrella. We have member, not member. And then we have ambassador, not ambassador. And then we have mommy, not money. We have dummy, not dummy. So this is the case of letter M. And then we have articulation effects. So what are articulation effects? What is articulation effects in the first place? So what sound do you hear at the end of these Tyap words when pronounced alone? So we have letter K endings, two K ending words, and we have two T ending words, and then we have two P ending words. So in the whole of the Tyap language, apart from letter N and M, the only consonants that end Tyap words are K, T, and P. So we have tak, we have tiok, we have bat, we have lat, we have tup, and then we have nyap. Now listen again carefully to the last sounds of the same words. Place a word starting with a vowel, e.g. ayin, ayin rather, and so on and so forth. So we have a vowel starting this word ayin. So if we put tak and ayin, how do we pronounce that? Can someone pronounce these two words? Can you join this one and this one together? This one, 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 and this one, and this one. Can someone do that for us? Can you unmute?
So the first example there is tak takayin.
Okay.
Yes. Then the
Then
next
the
one
next one,
is chogayin.
Kechogayin.
Yes.
Kechogayin.
Yes.
Then the next
Chogayin
one,
is batayin. Batayin.
Kebadayin.
Yes.
Okay. Then the next one,
Latayin.
Ladayin.
Yes.
And
Latayin.
then the next one,
Tapayin.
Tebayin.
Yes. Tapayin.
And then the next one,
Nyapayin.
okay, Nyabayin.
Yes.
So now, if we listen to the sound very well, when you combine tak and then ayin, of course, tak is written T-A-K. Ordinarily, you should pronounce it as tak with the K. But when you combine it with a vowel, when it comes immediately before a word that starts with a vowel sound, then this K is no more pronounced as K anymore. It's pronounced as G. That is why we have tagayin, tagayin, not takayin, tagayin. Or we have tiok, ordinarily pronounced like a K at the end, that when you combine it with a word starting with a vowel sound, then we have tiogayin, tiogayin. So this is a G sound combining with another word. Then you have bat. Ordinarily, it may be pronounced BAT, bat, but when you combine it with a word starting with a vowel sound like a yin, it would be pronounced as badayin, badayin with a D. And then the same thing with this one becomes lad. We have ladayin, ladayin, not latayin, not latayin now, but we have ladayin. And then the same thing with this tip. It may ordinarily be pronounced as tip with a P, but when you combine it with a word starting with a vowel sound, now we have tibayin, tibayin. So this P becomes a B sound, tibayin. And then when we have nya, it may ordinarily be pronounced with a P ending, but when you combine it with a word like a yin, it becomes nyabayin, nyabayin with a P ending, nyabayin. But then when we place these same words with a consonant or a word starting with a consonant sound, we may notice that these endings may remain the same as they are without K changing to G, and then without T necessarily changing to D, and without P necessarily changing to B. So we have tangu, takngu, kangu, and then we have chok, ngu, chongu, chongu. In fact, the K ending may not even be sounded. It may even be replaced in the case of this very one. So it will sound as if it is ta and ngu, tangu. And then this one may even sound like it is tyo, not even tyo. So chongu. And then you may have the same situation with this bat. Instead of bat ngu, we have bangu. So bat may be sounded, but then it may sound like a T, may sound like a D, but not necessarily as a D. If we change it with another word, not necessarily ngu, uh, it may sound more of a T than a D. So these are the dynamics or the articulation effects that happen in Tyap. So I don't know if someone can give us in your own understanding what does articulation effect mean in your own understanding. What can you explain to be articulation effect? Can someone try to tell us what articulation effect means? What do you understand by? Can we unmute to speak?
Can we check Sherman?
Hmm?
Sherman.
No, 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 no. I mean, can you explain what articulation effect means from this explanation that was just given? Can you give us your own definition of articulation effect?
Articulation effect are sound that change some alphabet when it comes in time of joining two words.
Okay, so that's in your own understanding. Okay, so Tolipet, can you try in your own words to give us what articulation effect means?
Okay, this articulation effect also mean how words are being influenced or perceived in the way people
Okay,
can yes render them. So this could be another form of articulation
so
effect. How these words are being perceived or influenced.
okay, so how words are perceived. Okay, so
It could be
let me
verbal,
give us
it could be
a.
verbal, it could be verbal, it could
Okay,
be
are you still
in
speaking?
written form. Yes, it could be in verbal
Okay.
or in written form. So it all depends. But it is how it is being influenced.
Okay. So from what I can see from a vivid or a more explicit definition given to me here, it says that articulation effect can be referred to how a person's clear or unclear pronunciation affects perception, or it can describe a linguistic phenomenon where the perceived fluency of a sound sequence influences preferences. I think this one is PP grammar. So, in my own understanding, what I understand by articulation effect is um, the dynamics or things that change whenever something happens. When you replace a particular letter in a particular given arrangement, in a particular sentence, the effect of you changing that very letter, the thing that happens to me, that's articulation effect. So let's go to the next page. Now pronounce the following words: Obat, Nzit, Alak, Ayamfuk, Ofuk, Asayam. Again, Obat, Nzit, Alak, Ayamfuk, Ofuk, Asayam. So using who next after the words, listen and discover if there are any changes in sound. Now, if we combine Obat and who, it will become Obadu, Obadu, Nzudu, Balagu, Ayamfogu, Ofobu, Aseabu. So we can see that when we combine this wu with a bad, it becomes a D sound. Nzit becomes not nzit or not nzit with a T, it becomes nzit or nzit with a D sound. Nzidu or nzidu, not just a lak, but a lagu. That means K has changed to G, K has changed to G, P has changed to B, P has changed to B. The same thing with D. T has changed to D, and T has changed to D. But then let's note that when N, or rather, if you notice that words that have N at the very beginning, or rather, let's just read it from what we have so that we don't mess. So note the effect that N has at the beginning of certain words which begin with letter L, letter W, and letter Y. Here are about seven or six examples that we have right here. We have Lien. Lien is a witch. Lien can also mean to know. Lien can also mean anger and so on. But then when we have letter N at the front of L, it's no more Lien. It becomes Ndien. That means L has changed to ND. It's natural in here. Whenever we are to add an L prefix to any word that has a beginning as L, we no more have lien anymore, but we have Ndien, except one word that I'm still wondering why it should be like that. The borrowed word lumber, and if it is plural now, lumber, not ndamba. I don't know why it is like that, but that's the discovery that we have at the moment. So we have another word, li, to see. Li can also mean dory, can also mean many other things. But then when we have a word or a sound like placed, even though here is a word in Tyap, which is the pronoun, the first person personal pronoun, I in Tyap, that is it will not be li anymore, it will be di. So even if the word or the letter N or the sound N is separated from the word that starts from letter L with letter L, the same effect follows it. So we have ndi, not only. So L here changes to D. And then the same thing with letter W, way, to skin, or to explain or to define something, it has different meanings. But when you add an N to it, instead of you having Nwe, you have a G added to it, so it becomes Nwe or Ngwe. But Ngwe is pronounced Ngwe. So it's like a process of skinning something. So na Ngwe, change na Ngwe uh, Angao, instead of changing na Ngwe, I don't know, but whenever you have this N added, or N added to the word, the letter W, or the word starting with letter W, a G follows it. But then when you have the word separated, especially when you are dealing with the first person personal pronoun I, that is now, then we have a situation whereby we have a G added to the W, or the word starting with the letter W, even though sometimes we also have the N, another additional N added to that same word. One, then now one, like you are explaining the process, just like you are having the same situation with this very one. It's like the process of doing that very particular thing. Then that ng is added, not just a G. The G is added here because we are dealing with the first person personal pronoun. Ngwan, not Ngwan. That is in Tyap now. Or na Ngwayang, Ngwayang instead of Ngwayang. So I don't know if there's an error, someone can um, point it out for us. But then this one, there are two different words. Here we have one same word. They are joined together. The same thing here. This is Indian. So some people, I see that some people, when they are writing like Indian, for example, they will separate the N and the D. Meanwhile, some people, when they want to say I see, they join the words together. So it is wrong. When you are dealing with the first person personal pronoun, you must always separate. For example, if I want to say thank you, Ngwai, for example, you say I, you separate it from the Gwai, but by the time you join it together, this is what you are talking about, even though there's no underscore for the Ngwai. To be like Ngwai, well, it's really not in the sense of I I appreciate or thank you in here. So, but if you are dealing with a personal pronoun and then a verb, you are supposed to separate them together, from being together. But then this one is a kind of continuous tense marker when you join them together. The continuous tense of the second word of the root word. So we have yud added to yud, we have ng added to yud, that's to push. And then by the time you put an ng to the yud, it now becomes pushing, like in the process of pushing something. You are in the process, you are in the act. It's like a continuous form, so to say. And then when you have yeah instead of yeah, because you are dealing with the first person personal pronoun, now then you add the G. But if you are dealing with other personal pronouns like aya, for example, you just put a without the G. Aya, kwaya, zia, kaya, jia, kuya. But if it is I, you must add the G to it in there, not just iya but ngia. So you can also have the continuous form of it. So another N, ngia, ngia, like I am eating or something like that. Then you have another N added to the ngia to make it continuous. So if anyone has a question in this very situation, you can please unmute and ask. But I will move to the next slide. So there's a question here. How come how comes native speakers never experience difficulty in using the correct patterns of sound when speaking? It appears nature has implanted a certain code or a software in their subconscious minds which they unknowingly make use of all the time. So for those people who were born speaking Tyap, like myself, I wasn't born speaking Tyap, so I had to learn it at one point or the other, so that I would also have like an identity. So I may not have the same kind of fluency as a native speaker of Tyap, like Wakab now. So um, if you notice during your speaking period, whenever you open your mouth to speak Tiak, all these ones you don't have to go to the book like a manual to see, okay, which word do I change to ND, or which word do I change from L to ND, or which word should I add NG or N to or G. You just flow, without any stress. But for those of us who are learning, we would have some difficulties, and that's why we are having such a lesson like this, so that some of us who are pronouncing I eat as Inya, we stop saying Inya, but we say India instead of saying Ngwai, or writing Ngwai with N, combining NGWAI. We separate the N from the Gwai to have then we have Gwai separate also. So, so now, what do you understand by the word phonology? Can someone please unmute to answer us? What do you understand by the word phonology? The mic is yours. At someone, or should I stop sharing now and then, so that maybe the camera is confusing us? So can someone tell us, by your own understanding, what do you understand by the word phonology?
Pho- Phonology is simply the study of sound, simply the study of sound system.
Okay. So thank you. According to here, that phonology is the study of sound system. So perhaps
Yes, the
he's wrong. Can someone,
study.
yeah. So amongst the other four of us who are here, Gwakab, Samantha, Favor, and Eli, can anyone? Um, okay, so I can see Samantha. Um, okay, is similar to all phonetics. Okay. Or can
Pardon?
you unmute to? Okay, Gwakab, you want to speak?
Phonology is a branch of linguistics that studies the sound system of language.
Okay. So it's as if you are reading from a book. Oh. Don't catch you. Forget about that. So who can try again before we move to the next part of? So we have two sessions. We are just done with the first session, and then we enter the second session. So who can tell us what phonology is in your own understanding? So no one wants to try again. Can Eli try? Can you try, Ellie? Or actually Barbie or Samantha or Favor? Can anyone try? So that we know that you are following, even though you came late, but it's understandable. So maybe in the next 10 seconds, if no one answers, then we'll continue. Okay, so let's just continue. I'll share my screen again and then we look at the second part of the lesson today. So, what do you understand by the word phonology? So, phonology is a study of words or study of, let me not through my mouth. So, let's look at it again. Phonology is the study of sound pattern. So, every language has its own sound pattern. And from the very beginning, we identify about four words on this very page that do not, on this very slide, that do not follow the Tyap sound pattern. But five of these ones, like we said, BAT is a typical Tyap sound pattern. TAB is a typical sound pattern of Tyap. TA is a typical sound pattern of Tyap. AT is a typical sound, and then BA is a typical sound pattern of Tyap. But when we have TBA, ABT, ATB, and BAT, these are not, we don't find these combinations in Tyap at all. So um, when somebody sits down to actually see which words or how how does this language arrange its vowel sounds and consonant sound, what word or what consonant sound comes before which vowel sound, and so on and so forth. Does consonant sound come after consonant sound? Even if they come out after consonant sound, which ones specifically? So in Tiap, we notice that we don't have any consonant sound coming after another consonant sound except letter N and letter M. We'll look into that shortly in the next one when we look at the orthography of the Tiap language. But then any other one, we don't have double consonant sounds coming together in Tiap. So now let's look at the Tiap orthography, which is the writing system of the Tiap language. So you recall that sounds are available or are not visible. Whenever we speak, we don't see sound. So we can only hear them whenever we speak. In those days, like around the 1990s, late 90s, there used to be this Lucozade Boost advert. I don't know if some of us can still remember that Lucozade Boost advert. That somebody would just be drinking Lucozade, and then he would just jump and then do hard, and you see writing coming out of their mouth.
Yeah,
You understand?
I remember.
So even if they jump like this, you just see like is it writings, energy. So when they speak, you just see writings coming out of their mouth. So me, I've been dreaming that I'll drink Lucozade Boost. I've been looking forward to drinking Lucozade Boost. Oh my God! So when the day came, I got a Lucozade Boost. Oh my goodness! I wanted to practicalize it. So when I just drank my Lucozade Boost, I just say, ha, ha, ha. Nothing was coming out. I was wondering what is happening. For goodness sake, why is it that on TV when they open their mouth, there's writing coming out of their mouth? But me, I did my own, no writing. It's as if there was something going fishy. It was surprising me. Why? So that's actually sound. Sound, they are not visible. We can only hear them, and then we cannot be able to see sound. But then, what else does this very slide say? So, to write and read, sounds have to be represented as symbols. So, whatever we speak has to be represented. We need a symbol. So, this enables the development of an orthography, which is a writing system that's suited for that very language. So, the Tyap writing system or the orthography of Tyap also has a system of vowels and consonants, which we will now consider. So most of us will lament about our grandparents and great grandparents for not documenting our history because they never developed a writing system on their own. So whatever history they had was oral. It was passed from generation to generation through word of mouth, which is not reliable completely. But then by the moment in the 1940s, 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, when they began to become educated, then we began to have our language being documented. For the Tyap language specifically, it happened around the 1940s, but then the orthography of Tyap itself was developed in the very early 1990s or late 1980s, 1989, 1990 period. So that was when the orthography of the Tyap language was developed, which we are going to look at. So, if you were present in the first lesson when we studied briefly the introduction to Tyap vowel sounds, or the introduction to vowel sounds and consonant sounds, not necessarily Tyap, but this very one we are looking strictly on the Tyap vowel sounds and the orthography in general. So, Tyap language has short vowels or the basic vowels, and then we also have the long vowels. But among the short vowels, we have about seven of them. So we have the A, the phoneme A, and then we have E. E is written as A underlined and it is represented as a sure sound. So someone, can you unmute your mic? So we have this A underlined, and some of us are usually confused. And then whenever we want to write but, for example, we go and write A underlined, so it becomes but instead of but. And then we have A in Tyap. This is the phoneme A, and then this is the phoneme E. This is the phoneme E. This is the phoneme O, and then this is the phoneme U. So under the R sound, we have bat, lag, tan, san, tak. Maybe someone is not viewing my screen very well, so I'm going to expand my screen, or rather I'll use another channel to show us this one very well, to highlight it very well, so that those of us who cannot see very well the distance can be able to view it very well. So we have but, we have lack, we have tan, we have san, we have tan, tak. So this is the R sound. But then we have the second one, uh, uh. Under the sound, we have but. Okay, maybe because I'm also in the English meaning. So but means to weave or to pleat. Lack is to refuse. Tan is to pay. San is to receive or to save. San can also mean the name of a tree, san. And then tak can also mean leg. Tak can mean to arrange, and so on and so forth. And then we have but. But means much, plenty. Then we have ogwam. Guam. Guam. So ogwam means a king, a chief, a monarch, a ruler. And then we have elan. Elan means pot. It can mean an account, a bank account, elan. And then we have ofang. Ofang means a stone. And then we have a fun. A fun. A fun means a fish. Fun. If you notice the sound, the way I pronounce it is not afan. No, it is fun, because it's the short sound that is here. Fun, fang, fang, learn, guam, and then guam, ah, ah. But, and then we have the next vowel sound, yet, jet, or jet. Yet means, yet is a modal verb actually, which is to be. a yet, he is, a yet, a tutor, a yet a tutor, he is a teacher or she is a teacher. So this is the is. Yet can also mean something good. Tiap Wikimedians, something that is good. Jet is a cricket, singular jet, and then jet plural. Akabe, Akabe is a bet. If you bet or a covenant or a bet, and then Jen is time, Jen, and then May. May is like isn't it or something like that. May, and then we also have the e sound like lip, lip, lip. Then we have bin, bin. Lip is to ask, like to ask a question, and then bien means land, country, territory, and so on. Lien means darkness or to be dark, or to even to lose something or to lack something. And then nyin means you, plural, you, plural. And then li means to see or dowry. And then we also have the sound, It is written I with a little diacritic underscore. And then we have lum as an example. Lum is tail, the tail of an animal. Lum can also mean a kind of a kind of a masquerade. And then turn, turn is not tin, is turn is to remove or to extract or to deduct. It can also mean bitter leaf, the Verona tree. Is it Verona tree called? And then we have nzit. Nzit means us or our, us, yeah. And then z is we. So this is the subject form. This is the object object form. So this is subject, and then this is object. We, us. Then we have a a bjuk, bjuk, a bjuk. A bjuk means wife or woman. A bjuk, a bjuk. Don't mind my pronunciation. A bjuk. And then we have the O sound. We have long. Long is fire. We have tongue. Tongue is honey. Jojo, jojo. That's something like sharp or liquid. If I make a mistake, please unmute and correct me.
Something watery.
Okay, something watery, something liquid, something that is having very small viscosity. And then we have a tongue. A tongue means
Autumn.
a dustbin. A tongue means a dustbin or a waste bin. And then we have a dung. A dung is a kind of pot that we usually put water. It used to be our traditional refrigerator before the coming of the refrigerator that uses electricity.
That's the original Hayatamaku.
Yes, Hayata Moko
Oh,
of
right.
Attack My Wife. Yes. So then we have the last sound U. Under U, we have lung. Lung means to dig something. I see some people who have become so English that whenever you write LUNG, they will say long. So this is Tiap. It's not long. If you say long, this is what you are saying. But in Tiap, it is lung. Then we have boom. Lung means to dig. Boom means a cap, a cap mainly. And then dudung. Dudung is a mortar. And then lu is to play, like especially hide and seek kind of male female play. And then we have ogun. Ogun is a hum, like an elevation at the back of a cow, and so on and so forth. So this is the very first one. And then the second ones we have, this is actually the first class of it. And then we have the second class, which is the long vowels. This is short vowels sounds. These are long vowel sounds. Under the long vowels, we have lat, bat, nat, fat, tatat. So some people, because of so much knowledge of the Hausa language, whenever they are going to render a word that's supposed to have a long vowel sound in Tiap, they are going to put an apostrophe in between the A and the A, which is very wrong as long as Tiap is concerned. So if you put an apostrophe between these two A's, it becomes it will become a. So if you put an apostrophe in between this lat, it will become laat. You put an apostrophe here, it will become baat. You put an apostrophe here, it becomes naat. You put an apostrophe here, it becomes faat. And then you put an apostrophe here, it becomes tataat. Is this tiap? No, this is not tiap. Maybe it is a Hausa word you are trying to call, but it is not tiap. So whenever we put an apostrophe here, you know that we have changed that word from a tiap word to a Hausa word automatically. So some of us who have the name La is written L-A-A. Well, if you wish with the H, if you wish without the H, L-A-A, but some people put an apostrophe. So that becomes La-A. And in Tiap, we don't have any word like La-A. We only have La. It's a long monotone sound which does not carry any apostrophe. And then we have uh, uh, oi, oi. So this word is a short form of the word kai. Kai is another way of saying no in Tiap. Oi is another way of saying no in Tiap. And some other people will not say kai, they will say kai. So the kai will now fall under this very ah sound. So K-A-A-I. But when you have an underscore, it will become kai. In this case, there's no K here, so it will become oi. So here we have ba sound, ba, and then we have the If you have one sound, one of it is two of it If it is KPAT, it becomes but, which is a load. But if you have KPAAT with an underscore under the both A sounds, it becomes but, like to offload something or to bring it down. Then you have Kai. Kai, that's another way of saying Kai. Then we have Kai. It's an exclamation. Kai. Kai. And then we have cut. Cut. This is another exclamation. Cut. Cut. And then we have the next one. A. A. The first example is need from. I needed you. Where are you from? I needed you. From where? And then we have jajed. Sometimes it is E here, jajed, but here we have jajed. Jajed. Then we have bait, jajed. It's something that is tough. This is from, tough. And then bait, to paste something. Tamid. Tamid is to cling to something, to grab something and hold. And then we have kulate. Kulate is a word for bullet in Tiap. If I'm wrong, please correct me. And then we have the long E sound, peed, peed. It could be an exclamation for someone who has lost something. If you are playing a football match and then the other one loses, or maybe you dribble somebody and the person fell, so the person has peed. So this one also mean zero. And then C is like just in Tiap, Asi Baya. Are you just coming or something? Then we have yes, like the feminine version, yes. And then we have fi, afi, fi. Now, I don't really know what this one means. And then we have t. Oh, sorry. Fi can mean the name for letter F. Fi, but I don't know. It also has another meaning in Tiap. Then we have tea or tea. Tea, like tea that you drink. It can also have another meaning. But I hope you will understand the concept behind it. If you have only one T, only one I, it becomes T. And then when you have two I's, it becomes T. We have only one I, it becomes Phi. And then we have two I's, it becomes Phi. So let me share again. So, but we need this lesson actually because most of us are actually writing Tia very wrongly. And it's good that we adjust the way we write Tia. So we have, if we have only one I and S, we have C, but we have two I's, we have C. We have only one PIT, we have PIT. But when we have two I's, we have PIT. And then we have the O long vowel, long basic sound. O. We have dod. Dod is to arise. Fo. Fo is sorry in Tiap. Fo is also a salutation in Tiap. Phone, I'm saying greetings you. Phonian, greetings to you all. Then we have code. Code is to pour something. You have jojod. Jojod is it still something liquid? Something like that. And then we have low. Okay, okay, that's what it means. Okay, so we have low. Low
No,
is to
I
have
think
pains.
Jojo is like
Yeah, jojo.
something that is slim
Okay, slim.
and very slim,
Okay,
not
or
too.
thin.
Yes, thin.
Okay,
Not
so
Ah,
okay,
Jojo
thin.
is something like a software, like something watery.
Liquid,
it's
liquid,
liquid too.
something liquid, something
Okay.
watery. Okay, okay. So that jojo. So it's different from the first jojo that we got upstairs. But this one is jojo. You elongate the O, and then you have low. Low is to be in pains, severe pains. O, and then we have the O, the long O sound. So you have lewd, lewd, that's to write. Then we have often food. Often food is a name of a tree, if I'm not mistaken. And then we have boo. Boo is a type of an antelope. It's like a duca. It's like a West African kind of duca, a particular antelope. And then we have ku. You have ku. Ku a is a cave. And then we have mu. I really don't know what mu means, but we understand the concept. When we have only one u, we have mu, and then we have two u's, we have mu. One u we have ku, and then two u's we have ku. One u we have bu, and then two u's we have bu. When we have one u here, we have often food, and then two u's here, we have often food. One u here and the t we have lewd, and then we have two u's lewd. So that's for the long vowel sound. This is the short vowel sounds. A, e, I, o, u. A, e, I, o, u. And then the next one is a diphthong, is the diphthong group. We have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 diphthongs here in Tiap. But if there are any changes, we'll get to know it much later. But for now, we have about 6 of them. So we have I, we have A, we have O, We have air, we have a, and we have oi. Under I, we have words like by, which is to come, kai, to follow or to understand, and then we have fi, which is new. We have kambai. Kambai is a variant of the name Kambai. Well, Kambai is a name of a person, and then we have Bai. Bai is a heel, the heel of your leg, and then we have Bai. Bai. This is Bai. This is Bai. 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 So whenever we have the underscore, it no more sounds as a, and then when we have an underscore, it becomes a. Bai. Bai is to pluck something. Way is to skin an animal, or to remove the skin of something, or to explain, or to expatiate, or to define. And then we have katai, katai, and then we have kasai. Katai is like perhaps or something. And then we have kasai. Kasai is like you are trying to be careless, or you are trying to be like I don't care kind of attitude. Kasai, well, I don't know kind of attitude. So you have kande. Kande is like it's okay, it's okay. You usually say to a child or somebody who's younger. It's another word of it's another variant of nde. So it's either you say nde or you say kande. It's another way of saying okay. So don't use that okay uh, in every situation. Then we have o, like the word ko to divide something, or to, yeah, mainly to divide or to share. And then low to be much, low. And then you have a tosa, not a tausa. Tosa, that's outside. And then go is to hit something, by mistake, or go is to encounter something. And then you have Joe can mean to receive something, or to excel. So Joe, not Joe, but Joe. Okay, Kwaka, are you saying something?
Ai, kawamu ne da su gila da su cin.
So can we mute our mics? Can we mute our mics, please? So we have the air diphthong sound. Okay, so we have the air diphthong sound, and here we have bang. Bang is to help. We have nyang to marry, or marriage itself. Marriage is nyang, and then tayak. Tayak is like to open widely, and then like we have back. Back is to bend, and then alayang. Alayang is this year, not last year, not next year, but this year. So in Tyap we have three variants for every word that falls under this air diphthong. So we can either have biyang or bayang. So this ea can be rendered as iya, or a underscore ya. So we have bayang or biyang, we have nyang or nyang or nyayang, and then we have tayak or tiyak or tayak. Then we have bayak or biyak or bayak, and then we have alayang or aliyang or alayang. It depends on the community, but in the written form of Tia, we use this ea. And then we have a. Under a, we have tui, tui. Some person will say this one is too difficult. I can't understand this T Y W coming together. This we are going to encounter it very soon. So T is T, then Y is ya, tia, and then we have W. You have Tiu, T, ya, wa, Tiu, Tiu, to you way, and then we have t, y, a, e, t, a. So you can see the difference when you delete the w. Tue, ta, tue, ta, and then we have b, y, b, 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 y, a, e, b, and then we have g, g, and then we have sh, y, sh, shay, shay. Shay means to move. Yay, well, to call, but first person personal pronoun. And then ba, to that's crossing, continuous, and then tie, putting, continuous, and then toi, crying, or to cry rather. So this is the a, and then we have the oi. We have foi. Foi, foi is to break something, and then a boy is an institution, an old institution. Is a social, is a kind of police, religious lawmaker group of people, and so on and so forth. Then we have okwe. Okwe is okwe. What is okwe in Tiap?
Rainy season.
What is okwe in Tiap?
Rainy season.
Okay, rainy season.
Yeah, rainy
Okay,
season.
okay, rainy season. So then we have kwe. Kwe is falling, pouring. No, kwe is something that is
Vomit.
crumbling.
Vomit.
Okay, vomit. It can mean vomit. It can mean rust. For something to rust. Kwe can also mean to um, well, we'll find out in our dictionary. Then we have boy. Boy is the continuous form of wo, which is to fetch or fetching rather, then deriving something, formulating something, continuous tense. So these are the six diphthongs: I, a, o, air, a, and then oi. These are the diphthongs. So we are done with the vowel sounds. Then we have our consonant sounds. So after the consonant sounds, we look at the tones, and then we are done with today's lesson. So please let's exercise patience, and then let's also be happy that we are having this lesson in Tiap for free. You would have paid each person like 10,000 per session that we're going to hold there. Wikimedia says no, no, let's give this one to the Tiap speakers for free. So let's just say thank you to Wikimedia later on. So under the consonant sounds, meanwhile, I skipped something. Vowel sounds are called a tantai in Tiap. Meanwhile, consonants are called a gap in Tiap. So under the gap or the consonant sounds, we have the basic sounds, the basic consonant sounds. And these basic consonant sounds, they usually appear as diagram, as monographs. Monographs are symbols that appear singly, they are not double. They are just themselves only one symbol. And the first one is B, and under B we have examples like bang, bang, for example, bang, and then we have bang, we have book, we have B, and obun. I will not say the meaning so that we'll be fast a bit, or rather, should I say the meanings? Bang is like to grope, like you are in the dark and then you are touching to feel something. Maybe you are looking for your touchlight, you are touching to see. And then bang can also mean, bang can be it can be a cause, or like a repercussion of a taboo. So no, bang is a taboo rather. Am I correct? Bang, taboo in Tiap. Am I correct, somebody, or do you or
Yes, yes, that's correct. Bank.
bang? Okay, that's bang, the taboo. So bang is to hold something, and then book is to get lost, and then B is bed bug, and then obun is can mean something that is unripe, or something that is obun, something that is uncooked, and then it can also mean fault, your fault, my fault, their fault. So we also have the chair sound, which is having examples such as a chair. A chair is a basket in Tyap. Chuk is a chair in Tyap. Ochonchong can mean a mermaid like that lady with a fish tail,
Like Mami
and then
Water. Say it.
mami water in the Nigerian
Yeah.
English. Yes, yes, and then Ochonchon can also mean what in Tyap. Ochonchon can also mean what in Tyap. Okay, go and find out and tell us later. Yeah. And then we have Chet. Chet is strength. And then we have Chen Chang. Chen Chang. Chen Chang. Chen Chang, something that is very cold, like chili cold, like Irish, no, like Russian cold. Chen Chang. Then we have the D sound. Under the D sound, we have Dudung. Dudung is mother. And then we have Ditang. Ditang is like an appetite. And then you have Don Dong. Don Dong. Don Don, something that is on fire, to be on fire, and then that day is small, and then D is the first person personal pronoun form of saying to see, and then D can also mean like you are emphatic about somebody seeing something, like D, like see, you know. But if you want to just say to see something, you just say li instead. So if you say I see, you say ndi. So take note that I am the only person that can say D, not you. You can't say Ali, or how do I even say it in English so that it will be very suiting. Di can only appear when you are using N before li. Remember our lesson earlier on, when you have an L sound and then N comes in front of the L, either as the same word or separated by a space, that L changes to D. So you have D now to see, Ndi, but Ali you see, Nili you see plural, Bali they see, uh, Zili we see, but D I see, and then D for emphasis, whether it is plural or whatever, so long as emphasis, it is D, not li, but D. And then we have the first sound. Under the first sound, we have a fan. A fan. Remember upstairs, we have something like this. We have something like this. A fun, a fun, a fun, and then we have a fang stone. This is fish, but then we are having something like this, which is fun, EFAN, without the underscore under the second A. So this is a fan, which is a mountain or a rock, a big stone, very big stone, which is planted under the ground, from the ground up. And then we have fang to count, and then we have often fun is blindness, or is it a blind person now?
Fun.
Often fun,
For now,
or is it
this one is
butterfly?
yes.
Fun is butterfly.
Okay, so this is the butterfly. So the one that doesn't have an underscore here, that's a blind person.
That's
That's
good.
often fun. So then we have fufu. Fufu is ear, one ear, and then fade. Fade is it to peel something in Tiap. Okay, so maybe later on we'll find out what it means. And then we have ogun, which is a hump. Ogun. That's the girl
Okay.
sound, ogun. And then we
Ogun.
have gak, ogun. Okay, so we have ogun in Tiap, and then we have gak. Gak is boundary, and then we have guguk. Guguk is like rushing to do something, energetically. You are rushing, you are being too brisk about it. And then you have gan like a habit, also habit, character. And they have gurung is to bend. And then we have the ha sound. Under the ha we have who, It's a definite article. Who can who the thing, and then we have ha ha. It's like and it's like an exclamation, and then we have how. It's another exclamation. We have hey. It's another exclamation. We have ba. Ba is a negation, not. And then we have the j sound. Under the j sound, we have jet. Jet is jet is a cricket, and then you have jat or jat. Jat is a reason or the aim of you doing something. You have jot. This is now one o now, and then we have junjuk. Junjok. Junjok is bean, beans, and then you have chip. Chip is to throw something away, but I think it's chip with an underscore, not chip.
We have different
So
names. We have Jip and Jip.
chip. Okay, what does chip mean, Cynthia?
Jip, Jip means this, how to call it, Pascaro apple. This
Okay,
thing
an
that look like
animal.
hand.
An animal. That's a
Yes,
guinea
look like
fowl.
hand.
Look like chicken.
Okay,
It is not
so
guinea.
it's a guinea fowl.
Mm,
So that's a guinea fowl. So that's chip, but I think it has an underscore
yes,
here, not
yes,
just chip,
yes.
but chup. Okay, so we'll correct that later on. Then we have the k sound. Under the k sound, we have the k. K. K is if or when, and then we have kei. Kei no, and then we have ko to pour, and then we have kun. Kun is what does kun mean in Tiap? Kun.
Cool.
Is kun.
Kun.
That is
Kun.
to wound.
Okay,
Abu
wound.
Father.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a kind of wound, it's a kind of injury, and then K is if is a variant of this very one. Kiana by Kana by okay, K is no. If okay, it's still the same thing. K and then K can also be like an exclamation, like another K Asibaya K I just coming is, and if you are to translate it to English, there may not be a translation in English. So that's the k sound, and then we have the last sound. We have long, and then we have lang. Long is fire, lang is line, look is to drive, lay. Well, I don't know what lay is. Do you know what lay is? To help us lay, and then we have li, li is to see, and then we have mang. Mang is and the sound, and we have mang. Mang is throwing something or shooting something, rather shooting. And then we have move. Move is to grab something, hold it very tightly. And then we have termate. Termate is like to clinch to something, to paste something. And then we have a map. A map is a squirrel. No, a map is a grass cutter. It's a kind of an animal. That's a map. And then we have the n sound, anu. And then we have nang. Anu is mouth. Nang is to give out something. Nang can also mean to dash out something, or it can also mean a fountain or something. You have need. Need is to be from nini. Nini is how nini. So this is how in Tiap. It can also be just ni, and then we have knock to build or to wave something. And then we have the pass sound. We have pum or pum. But this one seems to be like the it's like the description of size, you know. And then we have Pete. It was explained earlier on. We have Pa. Maybe this one has to do with an exclamation. We have Pui, and then we have Papa. So maybe we'll just keep the explanation of the meanings so that we'll be very fast, and then we'll finish quickly. And then we have Kurum. That's under the ra sound. And then we have Frung. Then we have Burung. Then we have Rarang. And then we have Dirum. Dirum. And then under the S sound, we have the S, S, and then we have Susot. We have sangbab, 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 sangbab. We have sangbab, and then we have osop, and then we have sasat. Sangbab, osop, sasat. And then the next sound is the third sound, and then we have under it we have a tang, and then we have tong, and then we have a tung, and then we have tum, then we have tete, and then we have the voice sound. Under the voice sound we have van, we have vean, we have vavat, we have a vac, and then we have v. Under the word sound we have wham, then we have a wat, then we have wun, then we have wok, then we have we, and then we have the year sound. Under the year sound we have yak, then we have yud, then we have yok, we have yayad, then we have yet. Then under the z sound we have zon, then we have zang, then we have zuk, then we have z, then we have nz. So these are the basic consonant sounds. But then we have the digraphs, the ones that are combined when we combine two basic sounds to form one sound. So it's as if one of us is having a guitar playing on our background. So can we please mute, or are we enjoying the music? So under the digraphs, we have the bar sound, the GB, and the examples that we have a bang, then we have bang, bang, then we have bang, then we have but, then we have but, then we have the GH, which is the R sound. This is ba, this is ra, ra. Under the R sound, we have ran, ran, and then we have ram, ram, and then we have rai, rai, and then we have rat, rat, and then we have go, go, o, o, go, rat, and then we have I, I, rai, then we have the am, ram, and ran. Then we have the KH combination, that is h, 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 and h. This is voiced, this is unvoiced. H, h, b, p. This is voiced, this is unvoiced. So under the h sound, KH, we have ham, ham. Then we have high, then we have ham, a ham, and then we have a hat, a hat, a hat, a ham, ham, high, ham, ham. Then we have the pa sound, KP, pa, pa. Under the KP sound, we have bang, we have bum, we have bututut, bututut, and then we have but, then we have a pat, and then under the nga sound, the ng, n and g will give us nga, nga. Under the ng or nga sound, we have ga, ga. If we have only one n, only one g, we have nga instead. If it is only one g in between, but if we have two g's, we have ga, nga, and then we have ngwen, ngwen, ngwen. Then we have ngat, ngat, ng, and then at, ng, and then at. That's ngat, ngat. The same thing here, we have ng, and then ng, 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 not ng, because we have only one g inside. Ng, not ng, This is ngat, not ngat, ngat. But this is ngwan, not ngwan, ngwan. And then this is nga. Then we have long. It is now appearing at the end. Long, ngan, ngat, ngwan, nga. And then we have the ny combination. That is nyak, nyak, nyak. Singular, nyak. Singular, nyak, plural, nyak. Then you have nye, and then yuan, yuan, yuan. But I don't think this example is supposed to be here. But then we still have the nya sound, and then one, yuan. Then you have nyen, you, plural. Then you have a nyan, who, a nyan. And then you have nyuak, ni, new, ni, new, nyuak, nyuak, ring, nyak, nyuan, nyen, a nyan, nyuak. Then the next one is the sha, sh, 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 shan, shoot, shushok, shoot, or shoot. And then you have shay.
shine mai saurin son nuna maka bayani shi you must
We have
accept
a
and
Hausa speaker. We have
agree.
a Hausa man at the background. So please, you can mute your mic. We are doing Tyap
Muka yi
today.
magana ba. Nace miki ai ya fi
Who is the Hausa man behind the mic?
Na ce
Please,
da
can
wannan
you
date
mute?
baya cikin priority siyasa. Ya ka gan shi yana ciki. As soon as na san ka samu.
Can you please mute your mic? So today is Tyap Day. Tyap Day. So it's going to be very unreasonable if we are doing Tyap and then we are doing Hausa here. It's unreasonable. So we have the sh sound, sh, sh. So we have shan, we have shoot, shushok, shut, and then we have shay. And then under the ts sound, ts, ts, ta, ta, and then we have tung, tung, and then we have tong, tong, and then we have ten, ten, tayan, ten, and then we have tan, tan. This is the ts sound, and these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 diagrams we have in Tyap. So the next one is the long nasal sounds. There are only 3 of them. We have the the and then we have the This one is ordinarily supposed to be ng, but we are having it as nng. And the first one we have under the we have man, and then the next one we have ngbam, ngbam, and then the next one we have tam or tam, we have tam, and then the next one we have atum, atum, and then we have abam, abam, and then the next one is the so we have fun or fun, we have fun. The next one is tun, tun. Then the next word is kun, kun, and then we have gan. If I'm not pronouncing it well, you can please unmute and then pronounce it the way Tyap Magolodo will pronounce it. And then we have the next one, jin, jin, gan, kun, tun, fun, and then and so on and so forth. And then the next one we have shung, shung, and then we have a kwang, and then we have chung, chung, then we have bang, bang, and then we have tong chuang, Tochuang rather, Tochuang. So these are the three long nasal. Tochuang. Okay, can you
Chonchuang,
pronounce it? Okay,
Chonchuang,
that means Chonchuang. So we are missing an N here. Chonchuang. Chonchuang. Right, yeah. So we are missing an N here also. So we'll have to edit it later on. And then we have the labial sounds or the labialized consonant sounds, the short ones and then the long ones. The very first example is the bwa sound, BW. Under the BW, we have obwa, 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 and then we have bwak, and then we have bwok, and then we have bwong, then we have book. That's the labialized form of bwa sound. And then we have the labialized form of the cha sound. That's the chua. Under the chua, we have obakulun treat, obakulun treat. Then we have chuad, chuad. Then we have chuan. Then we have chochuad, chochuad. Obakulun treat, chuad, chuan, chochuad. Then we have the labialized F, that is fuad, fuan, fun, tefuai, tefuai, and then atafuad, atafuad. And then the labialized G sound, we have guarong, ogwag, ngwan, ogwam. Now we have an issue because we don't have double G here, and this one is pronounced a mangwarong, not a mangwarong. Okay, so a mangwarong, not a mangwarong, a mangwarong, ogwam, ngwan, ogwag, warong. Then we have the labialized R sound. We have whack, whom, walk, one, and a whoop, a whoop, a whoop. Okay, so we have intonation challenges here, but maybe subsequently we'll have another lesson on intonation. And then we have the labialized H sound, that's the hua sound. So under the hua, we have yi hua, we have hua, we have ohua, we have ohua, and then we have ohua, ohua. Okay, who is pronouncing it for us? Okay, so time is not on our side. So we have ohua. So that's labialized H, and then we have labialized J sound. We have jojua, we have juat, we have akajuat, we have jojuat, jojuat. Then we have otunjuat, 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 jojuat, akajuat, juat. Then we have labialized K, labialized K. We have kwang, we have kwe, we have kwam, we have kwi, we have kup. Labialized H, that's ho. We have a huang, we have also huan, we have huo, we have hu, and then we have to hui, to hui. Labialized m, we have muang, we have muang, muang, we have mui, we have muai, and then we have muok. Labialized, now we have a challenge again because this is labialized nga sound, not n sound. It's not nua, it is mua. Mua, but we don't write it with the G, we write it just N and then W. So under mua sound, we have onwan, onwan. We have wine, we have one, we have mwap, and then we have wine. And then we have the labialized nya sound. Other labialized nya sound, that's nuan sound. We have nuan. We have nuang. Nuang. We have nyuang. What is it? Nyuang. Nyuang. And then we have nyuai. And then you have nyuat. And then we have the labialized per sound, which is the pua. Under the labialized per sound, we have puat, we have puai, we have puat. Then we have pomporum. Then we have puam, puap, puap, pomporum, pomporum, puat, puai, and then puat. Then we have labialized s sound. We have swan, we have suswak, we have swai, we have swam, and then we have swayang. And then we have labialized sh sound. We have shwad, we have shwai, we have shwak, we have shwayang, and then we have shwak, shwak. Then we have labialized t sound. We have twam, we have twat, or twat, twam, twat, twa, or twat. The lower voice, the lower sounds, they are singular, and then the higher voice sounds, they are plural. So twam, singular, twam, plural, twat, singular, twat, plural, twat, singular, twa, plural, two, or two, two. And then we have twa, 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 twa. And then we have the labialized ya sound. We have a yuan. You have yuan, and then you have your yua. Then we have your yuak, and then we have ui, ui, your yuak, your yua, yuan, or yuan, and then you have a yuan, or yuan, and then you have the labialized z sound. Then we have juan, juat, jua, tazua, and then you have yejuang, yejuang, tazua, jua, jua, juat, and then juang, or juang. So these are the labialized sounds of the consonants of Tyap. But then we have the short labial sounds, and then we have the long labial sounds. This is where we need to shine our eyes very well to look at it, because you really need this lesson to understand Tyap writing very well. So the long sounds of those labial sounds include vu, vu. Even though we have U ending, it's supposed to be W here. It's supposed to be a W here, it's supposed to be W all over them. But then in written form, they are rendered as U instead of W. So don't get confused. Is the long sounds or the long counterparts of this very one that we are having the W, having the U added to the W. So we have wak, wak, and then we have vuo, vuo, and then we have vuan, vuan, and then we have vuon, vuon, and then we have vuok, vuok. Instead of us just having vuok, we're having vuok. Instead of just having one, we're having vuon, and then instead of us having one, we're having vuan, and then instead of us just having vuo, we're having vuo, and then instead of us just having wap, we're having wap, and then we have fuam, fuam, and then we have a fuok, and then we have fuang, fuang, and then we have fuan, fuong, fuong, and then we have fuai, fuai, and then we have the long counterpart of the mua sound. We have the muat, muat, and then we have the long counterpart of the mua sound, which is mu. So you have mu, mu, and then we have muak, mwah, and then we have mwan, mwan, and then we have mwat, mwat, and then we have mwat, mwat. Then we have the long counterpart of the shwa, which is the shu. Under that, we have swan, swan, and then we have swai, swai, and then we have shushu, shushu, and then we have swashu, swashu, and then we have swat, swat, and then we have the long counterpart of the schwa sound, which is the true. Under the true, we have swam, swam instead of just swam, we have swam, and then we have to try, and then we have try, and then we have tree, and then we have swan, and then we have the last or the second to the last, which is the long counterpart of the voa sound, which is the vo. Under here we have a vo, and then we have vo, and then we have voi, and then the last one here under the long sound, the long counterpart of shua, we have the true. So under here we have swat, not just swat, but swat, and then we have strong, and then we have swai, and then we have. It's not the same thing. Okay, this one is supposed to carry an underscore. This is sway, but there has to be an underscore here. So these are the long and then the short of the consonant sound. So I hope we can be able to distinguish which one is the long labialized consonant sound and then which one are the short labialized consonant sound. So the long labialized consonant sound, they carry a U extra, and then the short labialized consonant sound, they don't have any U. You can see that from the examples here. And then we have the palatalized consonant sounds, the short ones and the long ones. The short ones will carry no extra Y here or I, but the long ones will carry an extra Y or an I in Tyap. It is changed from double Y to YI, unlike shoe. So we have the beer, the labialized B. Under this very one, we have biat, we have biang, this is another way of saying bang, and then we have build, then we have a build, then we have build, and then we have the biang, and then we have the labialized ch sound, which we have examples as shock, and then we have cham, and then we have chat, and then we have chin, and then we have chat, and then we have chat. That's the same thing with this one. So one will be deleted, and then we have under the labialized form of the d sound, we have the examples such as ndio, and then we have diang, and then we have diep, and then we have tedyong, and then we have dude, and then we have diem, and then we have labialized g sound, which is y. Under this one we have yard, and then we have yet, and then we have a young, and then we have the yet, and then we have good, and then we have a good, and then we have the labialized r sound, that's the here. Under the examples we have yang, and then we have a yang, and then we have a yai, and then we have a yi, and then we have yung, and then we have the labialized, the palatalized rather. Have I been saying labialized all this one? Okay, all these ones are palatalized rather. So we have the palatalized ha sound. Under the palatalized ha sound, we have hiap, and then we have hiap. No, this example is not supposed to be here. It's supposed to be under the long ones, the long the long here sound. So we have to delete this one and then we'll substitute this very document later on. So we have here and then we have short without this very end. Sorry for the much mistakes that we have here. So we have here, and then we have here. Under this very example, this is the only part of it that we're dealing with because this one is the longer one. Here, here, here. And then we have the sorry. So we're getting very close to finishing. But please let's be patient. So we have the sound, that's the labialized, the palatalized sound. And in here we don't have the pure sound. It's always palatalized. So the first example is Jiang, and then we have Jet, and then we have Shen, and then we have Sh, or Sh, and then we have Shat, and then we have Shi, and then we have the palatalized K sound. Under this one we have Kyayak, and then we have Kyai, and then we have Kyum, and then we have a Kyong, and then we have Kekyak, and then we have Kekiet, and then we have the palatalized Lia sound. We have Liap, and then we have Liang, and then we have Lien, and then we have Liud, and then we have Atelian, and then we have palatalized Mia sound, M sound. We have Miang, and then we have Mim, and then we have Miram, and then we have Memiat, and then we have Miet, and then we have the palatalized P sound, which is examples such as Piat, and then we have a pure, even though this one is supposed to be under the long one, the long sound, and then we have Pirup, and then we have Piat. This one is not supposed to be under this very example because it's a long one, and then we have Pepiap, and then we have the long, um, we have the palatalized T sound. Under this one we have Tiong, and then this one is not supposed to be here because this one is a long one, and then we have a Tiam, and then we have Tu, and then we have Tentiang. So this is slide 23, but let's be done with this, and then we have some special dialectical variants, which is the B sound and then the B sound. Under this, we have two examples, Kagbiang. Meanwhile, other Tia speaking people will just say Kagbang. And then we have Biat, for example, I beg your pardon, Biat. But other Tia speaking people will just say but some will just say Biat instead of just but. And then we have Biai, instead of just saying by like other Tia speaking people, these ones will say Biai, and then we have Biat. Instead of just saying but, some people will say Biat. And then this is the long version of the very first one. Under this very long version of the B sound, we have Biat, we have a Bjik, and then we have Bjir. This very BYI sound usually sounds like a BYZ because you are stressing the Y, making it double. So sometimes we hear Biat instead of Biat. We have Biat, we have a Bjik, we have Bjir, we have a Bjir, and then we have Chian, and then we have a Chian, and then we have a Chichia, and then we have a Chia, and then this one also sounds like DYZ, like Ntiat, Ntia. ntia, ntiat, nan ntiadeni. And then we have the long version of the here sound. We have here. Sometimes it sounds like a HS or HYS, but it's HYY or HYI written. So here, 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 here. And then this one sounds like KYS, but it's KYY or KYI as written. Kiat, kiak, kiak, and then we have kiai, kiai, and then we have again kiai. No, this one is not supposed to be under this very example. And then we have kiat, kiat. So this very document will be re-edited, and then we reload the right one on commons again. And then we have Z. This one sometimes sounds like LYS or LYZ. So we have Elysia, and then we have Lyziai, and then we have Lyziat, and then we have Lyzian, and then we have MYI. That's the long version of the near sound, like Nyai, and then we have Nyan, and then we have Nya, and then we have Nyam, and then we have the long version of the near sound, like Nya, and then we have Nyak, and then we have a Nyung, and then we have a Nyuk, and then we have the long version of the Q sound. We have a pure, and then we have pure, and then we have pure, and then we have a pure, and then the last one is the long version of the tear sound, which is T. It sounds like TYS. We have tear, TI rather, TI, and then we have tear, and then we have tiered or tiered, and then we have tiang, and then we have the second to the last category, which is the palate labial consonant 1. We have the 2, and then we are done. Under the first one, we have the chu. For example, we have chui, or chui rather, that's singular, chui. And then we have chuo, and then we have chuang, and then we have obun chui, and then we have jui, it's another version of lui, and then we have the long version of we have the palate labial version of the ga sound, which is yu. Under this one, we have examples such as ui, and then we have yuap, and then we have a yui, and then we have a yui, and then we have the yu sound, which is having examples such as UI, and then you have UI, and then you have yo, and then we have the Q sound. Under this one, we have examples such as QAP, and then we have QAP. Now this one is supposed to be QAP, or rather, it's not supposed to be here. Again, apologies. Then you have Kikyo, and then we have the next sound, which is Lui or Liu. And the example first one, we have Lui, and then we have Liu, and then you have Lua, and then we have Loluam. And then the next one, we have New. Under this new one, we have New, and then we have Nui, and then you have Azanu New, and then we have the last one here. Example first one, we have Gasho, and then the next one Sho, show. And then the last one in this very list has four counterparts. The first one we have hui, hui, and then the next one we have quat, and then you have a qua, and then we have a quadrupure, a quadrupure. From our first lesson, the first part of this lesson, we found out that when we have a T sound and then we are having a vowel sound starting the next as the next word, we are going to have this one sounding as a D. So that's the same situation. We have this one, a quadrupure, not a quadrupure, a quadrupure, and then you have a QA or a QA, and then the next one is Liu. The first example is a Liu, a Liu, a Liu, and then the next one is Loluat, Loluat, and then we have next one a Q sound. The very first example is QI, QI, QI. That's to sew something, and then you have the next one QA, QA, and then you have QAT, 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 QAT. So these are the different sounds in the Tyap alphabet. So if we are to actually list all these sounds as independent sounds, or as well, if we are to list them all as letters of the Tyap alphabet, you can do the math by yourself. So all of these ones will be the letters of Tyap alphabet, or all of them, like all of them. So we are going to have close to 100. So thank you very much. So let's live stream for the second hour, and then we are done for this very lesson. So the next one is the tone marking. It's just an introduction, and we are done. So we can pronounce the following Tyap words the best way we can and give their meanings. Akata, akata is a heart in Tyap, and then we have John. John, you can hear this one is low tone, but if I don't pronounce it well, you can please tell me. John is a goat, and then we have shop. Shop is favor, or I can see someone amongst us is answering the name favor, so maybe you change your name to shop. And then we have swamp. Swamp is smell, or favor or grace, that shop. And then we have swamp. Swamp is smell or odor. And then we have a yi. A yi is face or eyes. That's plural. And then we have a sam. A sam is a male. And then we have a nap. A nap is female. And then we have a tiop. A tiop is a man. We have a kang. A kang is a roof. We have ta. Ta is to throw something. Ta can also mean other things. And then you have jung. Jung is to remember something. We have jup. Jup is to throw away, or it can also be that very bird. And then we have shuai. Shuai is or shuai. Shuai rather. Shuai is a bee, and then shuai is to warm or to roast something. And then tian. Tian is a place or a point. A point, and then it can also be to quote or to guess. And then we have a ban. Well, it can have two meanings. It can be which, in fact, queers pronounce. Give us the meaning of this one, the pronunciation.
That's a band. So that's breast.
Okay. I'm not made account.
That's breast. It could be a band, which is breast milk.
Okay, so
Ban.
two sounds. A ban,
Band. Yes.
a ban. Then we have a ban. A ban is breast,
Yes.
and then a ban is milk.
Yes.
Then we have a tangwat. Okay. Then we have a tangwat. A tangwat is a star, and then we have gaswang. Gaswang is a finger. Gaswang, that's finger. Then we have tunswa. Tunswa is it lumps now? Then we have a kataliet. What does a kataliet mean in Tia? A kataliet.
Waka,
Sangal liya sai ja. Abu amja su
Uh,
kwada taliyan. What a Catalan
okay,
name. Papa.
I can tell yet. So don't worry. Maybe by tomorrow, turn in the in-person event when our elder will be present, then he will explain this one for us. So how do we indicate tone and pitches in Tyap? So in Tyap, we usually have high tone, low tone, mid tone, rising tone, falling tone, and flat tone. And all these ones, they are in all the words in Tyap language. So maybe later on we'll be able to explain or to understand this before our whole session will finish. Now, tone marking helps to clear confusion where a word has the same spelling but the pitch gives it a different meaning. Consider the following two examples. We have Zonjunja, Zonjunja, and then we have Zonsuyangja. Kai, in fact,
Zone
but
Siamja.
Zon
Zonsuyangja,
Siangja. Zon
Zonsuyangja,
Siangja.
Zonsuyangja, Zonjunja, Zonsuyangja. So we can see that there's a rising tone here and there's a falling tone here, but then in Tiap, only the rising tone is indicated, but any other one is not indicated. So that makes it a bit difficult for people like us who are still learning the tonation of Tiap. Even though we can write it, we can be able to speak it, but then the tonation is a bit different, and this tonation changes per dialect. Per dialect. So the Tiap Mabodo dialect has its own intonation, and the Phantom has its own intonation, but then all of them have something in common, which has to do with pluralization and singularization of most of these words. So Johnsoyang Ja, and then Zonjun Ja, and then we have Anangnung, then we have Anangnung,
Nangnung.
Anangnung, Anangnung,
Nangnung.
Anangnung, that he gave me or he dashed me, and then Anangnung, they dashed me. You are not indicating who specifically, because this uh or this now is a way of saying they, but you are not specific about the people. Maybe the people are not even present, so you just say enangno, they gave me or they dashed me, and you can't even see the people who are being referred to here. And then we have the last slide for this very presentation. Maybe we'll just switch to the main slides, and then we'll have our bigger screen. So we are not pausing yet. So we have the notes now. Research is still ongoing on the tones in Tiap. So this intonation stuff is still very basic in Tiap, and we are still yet to have a lot of linguists come to study the sound system of Tiap language. But Tiap has different sound levels, and we are hoping that those of us who are listening to this very uh, video or this very lesson, and we are linguists and we are looking forward to a particular language that we want to work with. So we are please inviting you to Tiap language to come and research more on the intonation. The work is still very, very basic, and we have not had books and guides on these very sounds of Tiap language. So in some languages, as in Tiap, the more recurrent tone is left unmarked. It is simply assumed. That is, the rising tone, the falling tone, the mid tone, the neutral tone, the low tone, they are all unmarked. So we just assumed, just as I'm assuming the sounds, whether it's swang or it is swang or it is swang, you know. But if it is strictly about the plural and singular, we mark the high rising tone, like John and John, one for plural, one for singular, John, the falling tone for singular, and then the rising tone, John for plural, Chuan, singular, Chuan, plural, or Chuan, singular, Chuan, plural. And then this is a convenient way of marking the writing or making the writing look neat. Well, in some to some level, for those who already know how to speak the language from childhood, like we have now, This one is a very convenient way of pronouncing all this way because seeing the word alone, they know the context, and then they are able to tell you if this is a rising tone or falling tone without you even marking it. But for some of us who learned the language while we were still, when we were still, or when we were, grown, or rather, uh, we never lived with people who spoke the language directly. Like we are now, he may not be have been born speaking the language, but then he actually at a point lived with someone who or people who spoke the language. So you assimilate the sounds naturally. But if you have not lived among people who speak the language and you are not born speaking the language naturally, then you have challenges with the tone. And Tiap is a highly tonal language. So that's a particular difficulty in Tiap. So in Tiap, the low tone is most frequent rather. So therefore, it is not usually indicated. It's not marked. For example, John is the singular form for both, and it has a low tone and is left unmarked. So now let's pause for today here. In our next lesson, we are going to know more about TIAP. So we are gradually sinking deep into TIAP itself, much more than we were in the very first lesson and second lesson. So our next lesson is going to be on the 24th of October 2025. And then we have an assignment here. We didn't want to make it so much, so we make it very small. So the assignment says that you should write one word, just one word, not two words, one word in TIAP that changes from L to ND whenever you place um, a particular letter at the front or the front of that very letter, that very word. So if you are confused about this one, move to the very first portion of this very lesson and look into the whole lesson. You understand where this one is coming from. And then the second example or the second assignment says that for all the classes of vowels and consonant sounds of TIAP, write down one word per sound, one word per sound, not one word per sound, one word per sound. Sorry for the typo. So for all these ones, all of these ones, all of these ones, all of this one from here, just give one example that is not here. One word, one word, one word, one word, one word until you are done with all of them. So you doing it would help you as a person to grasp the whole sound system of Tiap language. So this is the whole Tiap sound system we are dealing with now. So we'll end this very lesson with this very statement by this young man or this very gentleman called Ludwig Wittgenstein. And he said that if we spoke a different language, we would perceive a somewhat different world. And if you look at our politicians, for example, you look at the language that they speak, by the time you bring the issue of Tiab language development, and you look at even our elders, you look at our church leaders, our religious leaders, um, you look at our counterparts, our classmates, our brethren, our relatives, our friends, you look at the language they speak often, and then you look at the way they think, the way they view the world, you understand that they usually view the world in a particular sense of the language that they speak often. All of us will know the language that most of our people speak often, and you know the way they actually think. So you can actually chew this very statement very well and understand that very well. And I was not the one that said it. To This is the one that said it in the 20th century or in the 19th century. So this one is the one coming from me now. The language that you speak shapes your impact in your community. What this one means is that if you speak in a particular language, you see that you will be working towards something that will or doing things that will help that very community where that very language that you speak is. The people that speak a particular language, they usually do things that will favor that very community of the language that they speak. If I'm lying, you think it very, very, very deeply, and then you understand this very statement. So thank you very much. Bye bye. Zugwai, if you need to reach out the organizers of this very project, please feel free to scan this QR code or to call Queer through this very line. Thank you very much. My name is Kambai, signing out. So thank you all very much for staying to this very end of our program. So I'll just hand over the mic to Queer so that we just round up the whole thing and we call it a day.
So, once again, thank you very much, Kamba, for this wonderful presentation. And the lesson today was actually very impactful. And I hope that our participants and our listeners online will have a better grasp of the Tyap orthography and how this sounds have been rendered. So thank you very much, and to all our participants who have been joining, because I can see some have been inconsistent. I don't know, maybe it was due to network or it was just the tiredness. I don't really know. But for those of you who are there, you should know that we have you covered. So we that are also here on the other end of the of the sound you are hearing. We have been actually very active from early in the morning today till this moment, and the same thing will also go on till tomorrow, till around this time again tomorrow. We'll also be active in a different uh, work entirely. So from me to you, I'm saying a very big thank you to all of you. So if you're on the call up to this time, just as you have gotten the directive, we'll be disbursing at least some data token to support our data based on the whole elongated. Understand that the session is not supposed to be this long, but for those of you, if you follow it gradually, I think you will see that it's worth it. It's actually worth it because we have learned a whole lot today. So, want to appreciate you for keeping faith and staying with us from the beginning to this end. So, thank you so very much. We appreciate you. And at this point, I wouldn't want to drag us very long. I would just like to call it a day, unless if there's anybody that have a question based on what the discussion today or the class today. If there's anybody with question, please just shoot so that we can respond to it quickly before we call it off. All right. So in the absence of anything, please, we'll just screenshot. We'll just have these numbers for the people on the call. We'll drop it on the. I'm seeing Samantha on the call. So Samantha, are you just joining us newly, or you have been following the whole learning session from the beginning? Can unmute. We'd like to hear your voice. All right. So anyway, thank you very much for joining. And we can also see Babe Ishaku, thank you, and Sampoi too, thank you very much. Favor Haruna, we appreciate you. Dr. You are awesome, thank you. And to our facilitator, may God renew your strength, add more wisdom and more passion for the language. I appreciate it. And for me, who has also been here looking at everybody's face, thank me, Kuyet. I appreciate him. Thank you. Yeah. So we'll we'll see us again next week. No, in the next in our next session, which will be announced on our platforms. So be on the lookout if there's any question. And remember, tomorrow we'll be live in person from the session start from 9:30, but officially the lessons will start by 10 a.m. tomorrow. So do join us on our social media handles. There will be a link that will be shared so that you can connect with us live on our streaming platform. So thank you very much. I would like to hold here and just so that we can take our rest ahead for those who will be connecting tomorrow, so we can have more energy to come back for the in-person session tomorrow. So thank you very much. We appreciate you. At this point, I will just need to say good night.
You appreciate.
If you
Thank
are,
you. Thank you very much.
yes.
Bye bye.
So we'll just drop
Thank you very much for having the lesson.
thank you very much. Please, if you can just send your number to me or data number so that we can propose you later after the call. So thank you very much and have a good night.
All right. All right. Bye bye.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Thank you.
Bye.
So, Zodiac,